Welcome back to the ASN Dad Chat. We're a podcast and community dedicated to making sure no ASN dad in Scotland has to walk this path alone.
Our goal is simple: real talk, real honesty, and sharing our own experiences to help you navigate the system. Whether you're in our meetup group already or just finding us now, you've got a seat at the table.
And just a reminder, we aren't experts, we're just dads, and this is just experiences and opinions, not medical advice and not legal advice. Now let's go on with the chat today.
Hello and welcome to ASN Dad Chat. My name's Andy and I'm joined by James.
Hi.
And Sam.
Hello.
And this week what we're looking to discuss is everything about the dreaded summer holidays, everything to do with planning, places we like to go, how you handle your workplace, and any sort of hints and tips that we've got. I think we can all agree that it's a pretty tough time.
It's daunting, so to speak, having your children at home for any period of time, especially with additional support needs, can be difficult, never mind the 8 weeks on the trot. Don't know how you guys feel about that, but I think in our household it is insane over the summer.
It is going to be tough because until now Nathan was in the nurse and there was no summer holidays or that big a gap at all, and this is his first P1 and he is progressing to P2, but the 8 weeks is going to be a huge thing. We need to plan
yeah, definitely. I think it's what's kind of different from having neurotypical kids. I would assume that summer holidays are a period for them to kind of look forward to, and it's a case of you can just wing it, have a kind of lazy summer, the kids can lie in when they want sort of thing and sleep in and just pretty much deal with it a day at a time. Whereas I feel like for me anyway, it has to be kind of massively put into planning, regimented. Every day has something to go on, and every day has to be pretty much the same way as it has been when he was at school. So the morning routine has to be relatively similar, bedtime routine has to stay the same. So it's definitely, as Sam said, it's a daunting time. I think it can be, when it comes to neurotypical children, you get their input on what they want to do, and obviously there are some neurodiverse children out there that can communicate what they would like to do. There also are children who don't have that luxury, so you almost kind of have to take on that role, and you're almost acting as a coordinator, a teacher, a secretary almost. You're trying to plan things, slot things into a timetable. Yep, you're the one that's you're obviously going from your kids having a Monday to Friday routine, which is obviously probably more structured than you have at home, and you're having to kind of take that on as a parent and try and recreate that through the summer. So it's a lot of pressure to try and keep them regimented. So obviously the school do a great job keeping them in balance and keeping them entertained and stimulated, so it's a long time for that to kind of drop on you, and I think that's where the planning and the dread comes into it.
Yeah, I would totally agree. Number of hours in school is something that we don't fathom how many hours they go in and come out, and they come out alive. That's what we are looking at, and now it is like we need to fill more than 6 to 7 hours a day doing things that will actually stimulate them. So if we do the same things again and again as parents, Nathan would not take that into consideration. He's like, yeah, I did that yesterday kind of. And Sam, what you're saying is absolutely right with respect to the feedback. Without the feedback, we don't know, we take into consideration what he is going to like. Again, it's a lot of guesswork and a lot of this is something that he might like for a day, but if you do that for a week or 2 weeks, that is not going to fly. Right now I'm trying some things like walking with Nathan for almost every day or every other day. I don't know how long it will last, but it has been going on for the last 2 to 3 weeks, but that is something that I want to continue over the summer and see, just to get some exercise running, but at the same time do something outdoorsy as well.
No, that's great. And I think the hard thing as well is going back to the feedback that Sam was saying, that even though we're obviously going to talk about things like planning and stuff, even the idea it could be you could have something planned for every couple of days, going to a specific place, and it could be after the first time you go it's an absolute disaster and they don't want to go back again. So you can have every plan in the world, but until you actually take your child there, you have no idea how it's going to go, and it's all a huge risk that you just need to try to take day by day and hope that it does go well. And
tick each day as it goes by.
Absolutely. I think it's pure trial and error. And it's funny because I think some of the things that you will have like dead certain down, that's what you're going to do, that could be the time that your child decides, you know what, I'm not into that anymore, you know, or I want to do something completely different and completely shake up the routine. So it can be very, very difficult. And like you were saying as well there, James, is having that feedback in itself, you know, especially like I do have kind of neurotypical like nieces and nephews and stuff like that, and you know, they are the input in itself. You know, I watched them. I watched them, and you know, it was, can we do this? Can we do that? And you're like, yeah, no bother. And in that sense, you're like, right, I need to be alert. I need to keep an eye on what they're doing. But you can also turn around and go, well, this is what they want to do. They have that, you know, that sense of what they want to achieve or accomplish, or you know, and you can kind of let them go on with it. Whereas, like you were saying, you know, especially with some of our children, it can be, you know, you have to have your eyes on them. You have to try and risk assess if they don't risk assess. Yeah, and it becomes a bit more like almost like a military operation.
Yeah,
in a way.
It could be the same place as well, like how you're saying, Andy, but it could be another kid who not like, if it might be too noisy or less number of kids. Without the feedback, it's so difficult at times. Why you didn't like it this instance, or maybe we should try again. But yes, still we need to pack their time over the next.
Yeah, and then it's that way as well. All it takes is for them to get a sickness bug or become unwell, and then all the plans are out the window. I know that last summer we had some issues with Ashton, and sleep wise Ashton was just totally thrown. We were in the situation that you're in now, James, where that was Ashton's kind of first summer holidays after primary one, and it did not go well at all. Ashton didn't sleep for 8 weeks. He was getting up at 1 o'clock in the morning. That's when we ended up having to look to getting him onto melatonin, just so that we could actually get some sleep at that point. But yeah, I think we've still got some sort of kind of PTSD from that summer there. I know Cheryl's not looking forward to this one. She's very worried about it, and I think that's why we're trying to get in that kind of military mode and plan stuff in. And it's not just a case of one thing per day. I mean, it's a long day for all these things. Half the time you're having to have 2 or 3 things a day just to keep Ashton stimulated, so he's not just bouncing off the walls in the house. And yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah, I think in terms for us, so me, my partner and our kids, we're going on a caravan, an ASN specific caravan holiday next week for about Monday to Friday. And you know, my partner was like, I think we really need to do this the week before the summer holidays start, just because we've got you know, once the summer holidays start, that's when all of these families are travelling, things get busier, you know, the children get a lot more overwhelmed. And I was like, yeah, absolutely, let's do that. And then in my head I went, well, we've just added another week onto the summer holidays. Nice. But these are the things you have to consider. I know, Andy, you've mentioned it before, that you don't take Ashton to any sort of non-ASN sessions. And I think that is going to be something that's going to be important for you guys, certainly over this coming summer holidays, finding these ASN sessions when they are available.
Yeah, and I think it's that way even before, prior to me being so anxious about taking them to these and actually be a bit more open. You'd maybe have some during the school year that you could know I could go to a session at Monday at 4 o'clock. It's quieter then, but when it's summer holidays, it's all out the window again. Everything's busy. You can't just decide to we'll just give it a chance, because there's always other kids there. It's very rare you're going to get the place to yourself, so it is important that you kind of look up different places to go and contact different groups and charities, which we can touch on later in the episode. But what I'd just quite like to kind of circle back on is, obviously we're saying about the summer's difficult for the kids and everything, but I think that the difficult thing as well for myself, and I know that James has touched on it previously, is in terms of difference. There's not really any sort of summer clubs or anything for the children, which then makes it difficult. If you are kind of working full time, you need to understand kind of what you can do to actually look after your child. Because I know that for Ashton, like me or Cheryl, we can't work with having Ashton with us at the same time. It just wouldn't work. So we're having to take kind of unpaid leave just to be able to watch Ashton. And Cheryl had to go through a kind of full process and work to be able to get to that position.
It's such sorry to cut you off there, but it's such an anxiety-inducing thing in itself, because that's your livelihood at the end of the day, and if you're having to make sacrifices just to be able to watch your children, it really does kind of take everything into account, and you just have to figure it out,
Yeah, and it's not obviously ideal, because that's me and Cheryl have to sit down at the start of the year and just work out, okay, like, how many holidays are there for Ashton, how many holidays do we have, and then you're kind of looking at it and being like, most of the holidays we would have to take apart just to watch Ashton. So it's kind of like, what other people would take holidays for would actually be spending time together, going on holidays. I mean, don't get me wrong, we are going away with Ashton at the end of the summer, but it had to be something that was a full process in terms of getting unpaid leave and kind of working with our place of work. But if you have a child with additional needs and you are needing to care for them over the summer, then it's definitely something that you can speak to your workplace and see what assistance there is there. There is different things like carers leave, which usually gives you 5 days a year unpaid leave. I know that some places do it paid. Again, look this stuff up online in terms of your workplace. Don't quote me on it, but you do have certain rights there that can help you, because it's not as if you are just trying to take time off work for the sake of it. You're having to do it to literally survive with your child.
Yeah, we have almost the same problems. We literally have to plan at the start of the year, okay, you are taking 20 days, so I need to take the Christmas holidays off. Those were the decisions that we make right at the start of the year. But as you're saying, the carer leave is one thing we also have, but primarily what it is put in the handbook or something like that is more to do with appointments. And it is for anybody. It doesn't need to be your father, your son. It can be or aunt or anybody
so
else.
So it's more like like a kind of emergency, last minute you needed the day off.
Yes.
And I think that's where it's hard, because when we were trying to sort this out with our work, it wasn't a case that we were saying like, we just need you to sort it for this summer. We're kind of like, we're going to need this for the entirety of Ashton's life most likely, so we need to find some sort of permanent solution. It's not a case of, let's find something just now and we'll kick it back down to next year, because as Sam said, it's massively anxiety inducing. So it is difficult. So I think you almost again have to kind of turn into this mode where you need to look through all these handbooks and speak to your kind of HR representative in your workplace and figure out what assistance that they can give you.
Yeah, I think I was in a kind of private healthcare role when my youngest he was about 1, and that's when he was having a lot of issues with his throat. He was born with, it's called laryngomalacia, and it's basically a slight opening of the larynx. So when he was eating or drinking, food was still going through and going down into his lungs and stuff like that, making him very unwell. He got his first operation, and after the first operation they turned around and went, well, we've identified something else called a laryngeal cleft. And I was like, great, another thing I need to research, what's this? And the doctor was like, so it's basically like almost a tiny kind of, it's like a tear in around where his voice box is, and it was leading right down into his lungs, so food and liquid were going in there as well. And he kept getting kind of bronchiolitis, he was very unwell, and between operations he contracted RSV in hospital, so he was in for another 2.5 weeks. So I think I was off probably for about a month and a half, and at that stage where I was on my kind of probation period when I'd started that job. So, and to be fair, the manager I had at the time, to give her credit, she was very understanding, but it kind of got to that stage where it was one of those where kind of for both people you kind of had to go our separate ways, and it's hard because
it's not your fault sort of thing. It's not as if you said, I'm going to take some time off to go to the pub, I'm not just doing it. You're literally forced to, there's no other option if you went to work. You've got a son who is obviously in hospital unwell.
Well, that's it. And because he's number 3 in our house, so and with our kind of lack of a very active support network, you know, the people that we have in our lives, they work multiple jobs, they are very, very busy people, and the fact that they help out and when they do is incredible, but we can't ask them to just drop their job in order to watch our kids. So it was a case of, listen, I need to be the one this week that stays up at the hospital, and you know, if they're, because they were having to he was on a feeding tube and stuff like that, and trying to get him to not pull it out or anything like this, and you know, you had to kind of try and be that source of entertainment, and it was difficult, do you know, but I think the key, like you were saying, is having that kind of relationship with your workplace and being open and transparent, because I think certainly if you're open and transparent with, you know, your boss or whoever you report to or whatever like that, you can kind of create that dialogue, and they, you know, they'll have a bit more stroke hopefully to give you.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? One of the things that we need to first make them understand is what are the challenges that we are facing compared to new. This is one thing that I'm quite passionate about, to make sure that the advocacy is there for what is missing, especially coming to
I follow him on Instagram. I see some of the videos he does, man, are great.
It's about what we are doing differently, or what are the challenges we are facing specifically on, let's say, the summer holidays itself. If it is a neurotypical kid, there are summer camps that run throughout the 8 weeks, and I was genuinely surprised when I was looking through all the sites that there was nothing there, at least in my council, that would cover even for 3 weeks out of the 8. So immediately we raised it to our MSP, and this is one of the things that came up in the House Scottish Parliament today. My MSP had raised the question, and he put forward Nathan's Net and raised it as a question: what is the support? The answers were not ideal. It was more on what is there, very few things that are there, but they finally put it like, okay, we need to do more, but funds that are not so forth. But all I wanted to do was raise it to the MSP, so that the next time I go to him, he can at least see that we had raised it. And actually, I'm looking to get as many people in my council to write up to the MSP and see what else there can be, because either they are not aware of it, which is what I want them to believe, or the second part, which I don't want to believe, is they know about it and they are not, being an optimist, I want to believe that they want to do better. And I'm not saying this party or that party, but any party, they need to do more. If they see the condition of the kids and how much we are struggling as parents, this is one thing that will definitely help them as well as a community to achieve what their constituents actually.
Yeah, and it's that whole thing of is making it fair across the board. It's difficult. I mean, any sort of clubs, I'd say the majority of the clubs that you'll find that are available for our children, is you have to stay with them. So it's not, it doesn't it helps in terms of keeping them stimulated and giving you something to do, but there's not anywhere, it's not as if I could just go and draw passion at football camp that's on 5 days sort of thing.
That's what I used to get done. I used to be dropped off at a football camp throughout the summer. But our oldest, he for years has gone to a kind of our local ASN kind of school, and they do like a 3-day summer kind of break, and it is really good. He really enjoys it. He gets up, he goes on the taxi, he comes back, and he's ran about ragged, all of that sort of stuff, and you're thankful that he's had that opportunity, but at the same time you're like, that's 3 days out of 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And you have to, I think, like you were saying, James, it's raising that awareness, and trying to, I know we've talked about it before, is trying to get people who don't have these children to get it, to get where we are as dads and what we strive for, and to understand, or at least attempt to understand, our young people, giving them that opportunity to ask these questions and get a chance to observe them and see how they operate is so important, because like you said, I'm sure there are people out there who just don't care, and that's some people are like that, but
Here's the pessimistic view.
yeah, of course. The more optimistic side of me go is terminology. I'll say they're not currently educated yet, but I think about, I've been involved with our two oldest kids for about 5 years now, and I had a very small grasp on ASN and the things that I know now because I have educated myself. I've looked online, looked at courses, spoken to other like dads like yourselves, and that's got me to where I am. And I think that's the key, is open and honesty and being able to accept that kind of help and making a difference.
Yeah, I think what James has highlighted is definitely a problem. I think it's clear for everyone to see that there isn't enough support over the summer. Not even just the summer, it could be whether it's after school, it could be Easter holidays, it can just be at a weekend. I think it's difficult, even in terms of services, because I think if you're to look at these, say like a football camp, to use that as an example, you just need a couple of football coaches. But if they're running a camp for our kids, you need a lot more than just a football coach. You need people that are trained in terms of kind of personal hygiene. They need to be able to obviously understand our kids. So I do appreciate that it's difficult, but it's also very much needed. Like I know that for our local council, there's some things that are kind of ran through that, and Ashton's got a place in it similar to yourself, Sam, that even though we've raised it all in terms of the support and the kind of difficulties that we have with Ashton and trying to keep him stimulated and everything, and we managed to get 3 days support over the summer as well. You're kind of like, again, it's 8 weeks and it's 3 days, and even then though, even when you get those 3 days, you're delighted because you're like, oh my god, like that's 3 days less than 8 weeks, but still not enough.
It's definitely not enough. I'm surprised. Yeah, 3 days is good. You're talking about 8 weeks, 8 into 5, 40 days, and
quick math. Love that.
It's not right from what I see. Right, one of the things that the minister had responded today was getting it right for every child. Yeah. They tell that in every answer, but
that's that. I mean, it's legal policy.
Yeah.
So I think getting it right for every child, and they talk about the Shinari indicators as well. That's been a big one. So I don't know if you know the Shinari. So Shinari, you'll see it as like kind of safe. Was it health, active? Testing me. I'll need to come back to that. But there's a lot of them.
This may or may not be a made up word, but we'll take
no.
For
The
it.
Shinari indicators. I don't have signal in here, but I will Google it. Or I will bring it up in another pod. But that's certainly more linked to education when it comes to all young people. But I think like I've seen myself honestly during the summer, and those 3 days that my oldest would go, I'd be like, wonderful, I can spend some time with our younger children, or I can get an extra lie in,
or with your partner.
Sure. So half the time, I'm the introvert, so she'll probably just go out. I just stay in. I'm a gamer. I like to game. So, but I'll find myself literally at night, if I haven't slept or whatever, and I'll be like, 49 days till they go back to school. 49 days back. Take one day. So it's one of those that. It's great that they have that help, but it's a very small amount of that time.
I think it's that way. It's like it might come across that we're like, we don't want to spend time with our kids, but then it's not that way. It's like, it's just very, very difficult to be the best parent for 8 weeks in a row when you're essentially being like, right, okay, take your child, spend every day with them, but there's nowhere to take them. Their routines all over the place.
You have to adapt to their sleeping pattern.
Yeah. All the places are full. The holidays are full. The holidays are super expensive. If you take any flights or anything during these days, it's almost double the prices.
Definitely.
And if you go to the holiday as well, it is flooded with people, which your kid would not like, and he will most likely spend all his time either in the swimming pool or in the room.
Yeah.
That's about it. He wouldn't want to do any of the activities that the holiday
kids clubs and
kids
things.
clubs and
Well,
things.
that's it. And even the kids clubs, with the greatest respect, you know what? Like, I think about all the kids clubs that I've been involved in when I was on holiday, when I was younger, and, you know, they were all neurotypical based. You know, it was activities where you would just follow the was it the rep or whatever they were called, and you know, you would go and play like water polo, or you would go and play football on the football pitch. Like, if your child, very similar to our oldest, has a flight risk, you know, that, with the greatest respect, that is not going to work.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to really kind of think outside the box, especially over the summer. But, and I think something I want to highlight as well is, you know, I think so far, sometimes when we talk about these things, it sounds like it's all negative. The summer, especially for our young children, it's probably the greatest opportunity for them to explore. You know, especially
say explode.
Oh, explode, yeah. I mean, you know, arguable. Especially if they're indoors, absolutely. But, you know, they've got 8 weeks out with of their current routine where, you know, for us, especially in Scotland, you know, the weather is slightly optimal. It's, you know, there's a big ball of fire in the sky that appears and we wonder what it is. It turns out it's the sun. All of these types of things, so you actually get to kind of do more like outdoorsy things, and yeah, so it's trying to utilise that time, but we're only human, and if we work, do you know, that would be like, you know, that'd be like the kids having a teacher who actually is an accountant throughout the day.
Yeah.
You know, could you imagine somebody trying to balance both of that? It'd be impossible. So that's why there needs to be that level of support out there for our kids to go to.
Yeah, and we can't work like how, and if we are having Nathan that day, he would want every single second of our attention.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that throws a few toys across and go and play, or even the tab. After a point, he's like, I'm bored of it, daddy, or something like that, or just coming and pulling across your shirt or something like that. It's a good opportunity, like how you're saying, Sam, because for Nathan, he's like a sunshine kid kind of. His whole mood changes in summer. As close as he gets towards October and November, even for us,
winter is coming.
The winter is coming, yes. But for him, he enjoys the summer in the sense he goes into the garden, he goes and pulls the grass, the flowers that come through, runs behind the bee, or anything that stimulates him, because there are more things to stimulate him during the summer, the colors, sun. But this is where I think the councils are losing a mark over here in finding an opportunity where they can open up an area or bring something in, have a play area or something dedicated for the kids with few teachers and stuff. Like how you're saying, 3 days are good, but 3 days are not enough. From my perspective, at least it needs to be more than half the time, because even if you pay, you don't get these stuff. This is my biggest problem. Even if I'm willing to pay for these days, there is no holiday club that will even keep Nathan consistently for 1 or 2 days a week. I'm not saying it's just me, but I understand their concern, but there needs to be more funding towards that so that every kid gets more than 3 days.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, at the moment, our stepdaughter, she's going to a summer club. So she has a diagnosis of autism, but she does do well in these kind of like mainstream activities, especially if they're kept busy. But see, just for 2 days a week over the summer, you're talking about £400-500 a month. You know, and if you are in a very fortunate position where you earn a significant amount of money, that's great. But you know,
it takes a toll.
Yeah, I'm you know, being the guy that's, you know, not working at the moment, I'll stick up for those. I'll be like, you know, I think that, you know, £500 a month is a lot of money.
It's a lot for anyone.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. You winked at me there. I seen that, but yeah, you know, that's the price of a PS5. That. No, but you know, that's a lot. You are investing a lot of money in your child so that they have that best experience over the summer, so that they can kind of slot right back in to their routine once it's done. you know.
And I think it's that way as well, where it's so hard to get that balance where, as you've said there, that if there is a club that becomes available, it would no doubt be more expensive than it would be for children of a neurotypical nature to go to something, and you would think that it'd be something that the government would be able to help with, to subsidise that, not to be free or to even be the same, but to be just a bit closer, because it's almost that way that you're kind of getting penalised because your children have got additional needs that they need a bit more support, which is hard, because you're kind of stuck in that position where you need to work to get the money, but then you're also having to take unpaid leave to be able to watch the kids, to then try put it into different clubs. And yeah, I think it is difficult. I mean, all I can say to anyone who is dreading the summer holidays, I would obviously say get in touch with your local council, get in touch even with your local carers centre, people that can try and point you to what there is that's available. Again, we will kind of touch on that. We can go through
join the WhatsApp group. There's lots of people advertising different, and lots of people who live in different catchment areas. So, you know, recommendations fly in all the time, I think, I would say.
Yeah, this is the gloomy side of things. To be honest, there are some positive sides as well. There are some charities.
Us being gloomy? Are you kidding? No, we're heart and soul.
No, there are some charities that do help out during this time. We have previously told about what Avalon does, and they do have a day out where they are showing a movie and so on and so forth. So I'm not saying everything is bad and worse, it's just that it's so far and few in between.
And I think with all these places, and we will go through them, that the common theme with them is they're all parents that have started these, because they're in a position where there wasn't anything there, so parents have had to take it into their own possession. I know that's been the case with Avalon and a few other ones we'll speak about. It's all just parents of children with additional needs that have had to then build something because it doesn't exist.
Exactly. Most of it that I see is either a parent or a carer that has seen the gap in the society and started pulling their socks together and brought something to. And they are doing good. I'm not saying no, but I still need the council to step up on all these things.
I think you look at, I think when they say get it right for every child should experience the same opportunities regardless of additional support need or not. You know, I think I look at it and say, you know, having a child itself is a lottery. You don't know what you're going to get. You know, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. But I think you don't know what that child's going to be like. You know, some people, you know, I know that we originally had twins, and we were, you know, unfortunately one of them didn't make it. So sometimes you know, if we're going to go on the gloomy side of things, you know, sometimes people don't even get that opportunity. So, you know, but these kids, when they're born, you know, they don't have any, you know, say sometimes, you know, and that's where it's the people in charge that have to turn around and go, well, that if we have to get it right for every child and we have to give it all of these children the same level of opportunities, then we need to really examine, you know, every catchment area, and it's a colossal job. But if that's why they're in power for, that's what they need to do. You know,
this is where we become their voices, as you say, right? Even when they grow up, they are not able to give feedback. They are not let us know at many instances which is what they like, and we still want them to experience them, be happy doing. This is where we are.
Definitely weird.
I think we should probably talk about like summer planning.
Yeah, definitely. I think, again, just before we kind of finish that, and it's kind of what we spoke about as well, that it's so hard to be able to plan before you know. You're kind of always hoping, like, am I going to get some support from the council, from the school, the different ones? How many days am I going to get? I can't plan anything until I know these things. And then obviously you get the kind of 2 or 3 days and you're like, right, okay, I need to start planning now and try and figure out all the different things to be put in, because it's kind of similar to what you touched on as well, that we used to previously take Ashton, if we were going on holiday, we would do it during the school term just because it was quieter for him, we could cope better. But now, even just in terms of our like holiday allowance, and we can't take obviously there's only a certain amount of kind of unpaid leave that you can actually take. We've had to do it through the summer holidays, which means it's more expensive. It's going to be a lot busier for them, but there's not really any other choice. Like, if we were to do it during the school year, then that's an extra couple of weeks that having to get covered. So you're kind of forced to do these things. But
there's some children out there as well that, you know, they have the funding in place for like personal assistance and stuff like that. I know our oldest, he had so he has 18 hours funded out of term time and 12 hours in term. The only issue we've mainly had is actually like having someone available to take them during those times, because a lot of the time it can be, you know, a learning assistant from a school, or a student who's maybe doing that, going on that pathway, who has that free time. And you know, if their course gets difficult, they have to go on placements, etc., then they don't have that freedom. So, you know, there are other alternatives out there, but it's trying to find, number one, the finances, number two, the manpower to get behind it. You know, so it's a big ask.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a PA for Ashton, and she's absolutely brilliant. She used to be his key worker in nursery, so she's brilliant with him. Whenever she's got him, we don't have to worry about Ashton whatsoever. But it is just trying to obviously get that balance in terms of there's certain rules around what you can do with these certain things, when you can use budgets and things like that, your allowances. It tends to be a lot of time we found you're not allowed to use it to act as a childcare service while you work. So a lot of the time it would kind of defeat the purpose. You could have the funding there for that, but you were kind of told not to use it for when you're working, which makes it kind of difficult.
Redundant, yeah.
I mean, it obviously still gets used because any sort of respite is massively beneficial. But yeah, I think it is. You're having to kind of spread out as far as you can and find as many different services as possible to support you through that 8-week period. Yeah, kind of looking at that now, what we've obviously said, that nearly every place you go to, even if it's your kind of safe space through the school term, it'll be busy over the summer. It's very rare. I know that I wouldn't just do it, just randomly, just pop into somewhere on a day to be like, oh, let's just go here, we'll see how it goes, because 99% of the time it's just going to be manic. So when I'm looking to plan for places over the summer, and as I say, we didn't do this well last year because it was the first time we didn't realise how bad or how difficult it was going to be. So I feel like we've almost kind of went the opposite way this time and just went into overdrive to try and avoid that being the case, that we've looked into different places for exclusive hires. So a couple of places that is for this, that some of them we've mentioned before in the podcast. One of our favourites is Bouncy Bees in Springburn. It's something that you can hire exclusively for an hour for £30 or 2 hours for £50, and that can be either for yourself or it can be up to 5 kids. There's a huge trampoline in there, there's a big ball pit, various different sensory toys, and lots to keep the kids occupied. One of the main things and benefits for it, that it's completely secure, with a couch for the parent to sit. So that's definitely one of the places that we've booked in over the summer to make sure that we've got something that we know isn't going to be busy, and again, something that you can tie in with other parents if you want to kind of cut the cost down.
Absolutely. I think from our kind of local area, so out in Helensburgh we have Monty's Farm. That's a very popular one in our household. It is basically, connected to a farm, so you have your child being able to experience nature, being able to interact with some of the animals. They sell like feed, so you can buy the feed and feed the goats. There's like Highland cows, all of that sort of stuff. But then there's also a big kind of indoor play area with one exit, which is handy for us. And then there's like a big it's like a big kind of oval trampoline area on the outside.
Bounce pillow
that I think I referred to it as last time. Yeah, my terminology was on point. But yes, honestly, my oldest, he'll stay on that for hours on end.
Yeah, that's the same. And I think with that, although you obviously can't exclusively hire it for yourself, they do quite a few ASN sessions by signing up to Monty's Mates.
So they have like a Monty's. It's their mailing list. I think it's referred to as Monty's Mates. But you also have the ability to get, you know, semi-annual passes or annual passes if, you know, that certainly is something that applies to yourself. And I know some soft play areas do the same. They offer those.
Yeah, another place that we like to look at through the summer, and I've booked it quite a few times, is Pop In and Play in Bridgeton. You can book that at £20 an hour, and with that, it can hold a couple of different children as well. It's then completely secure, and there's different things for them to do. There's a trampoline, there's lots of different toys, multiple different rooms for them to keep themselves occupied. Again, completely secure, and it just means that you've got that security knowing that it is an exclusive hire for just yourself and potentially some other kind of parents bringing their own children as well, and it just means that you've got that booked in for specific days to keep the kids stimulated. Again, with that one and with Bouncy Bees, just get in contact with them kind of via their website. You can view their pricing on there and get booked in. And just the kind of third exclusive hire you can look at doing is one called Life's Little Rainbows, which is through Kilwinning. That one is £40 an hour or £70 for 2 hours. Again, it's the same sort of thing. It's got a big trampoline and lots of different toys. Main thing, again, it's an exclusive hire. You can get a couple of other parents to go with you, split the cost, and you don't have to worry about it being too busy. You know exactly when you get to go, when your session starts and when your session ends. So in terms of exclusive hires, those are the three that I would recommend: Bouncy Bees, Pop In and Play, and Life's Little Rainbows.
I'll need to have a wee look at them. We've not actually, me, my partner and the kids, we haven't been to an exclusive hire before. So it's certainly something that we will maybe try over the summer. I think for our children, ASN sessions are best, you know, so that they can integrate, but you know, they do okay in kind of mainstream sessions, but you have to be, you know, running after them every so often. So it is just kind of what your preference is. There are a lot of places out there that hopefully will start to do ASN sessions. You know, so we'll need to be on the lookout. I know locally to us, there's a coffee shop called Spectrum Coffee that opened up in the kind of Dumbarton area, and so the lady that runs it, her son has autism, and he actively kind of works in the kitchen area, practical experience, and they've just started doing kind of ASN sessions. So, and it's been really good in the sense that, you know, she ran a session and she knows my partner, so she messaged her and was like, listen, what would your feedback be, if anything? And some of the parents got back and said it was brilliant. Some of them came back, one came back and said she was using, what was it, like uncooked pasta in like one of their tough trays and anything like that, and their little one would eat the uncooked pasta, and if it would then expand in their stomach. So she went, oh, didn't know that, and so she's very open to kind of altering that, which is really good, and it's good to see.
Yeah, I've been to the first two that both are really good. The Pop In and Play, especially because it has lots of different rooms, and each room is kind of secluded from the other. So even if there are 3 kids, every kid can be in his own pace, and he can be in his own room, and there is a viewing area at the top, which can be used to show a short movie or something like that. So it's quite nice. I've not been to the third place, so that'll be something that I'll look forward. Having said that, yeah, it's these places which are quite okay for us to go, and the owners are quite good and they recognize us immediately. So this is something like a boon for us, but to have more especially summer.
No, definitely. I think again with these, and this is where it's obviously good to be part of the WhatsApp group and things, just so that it does come to it, you can obviously tie in with other parents. It could be a case that they could be booked in there. I know that Cheryl does the same with some of the mums, that they'll all kind of tie in together to make sure that they're kind of all kind of spreading the load in terms of booking into places and kind of keeping that coverage, because we are all in the same boat.
Absolutely. You know, and I think especially if you have that opportunity for your children to not only play in an environment suited to them, but also, you know, socialise with children similar to themselves is always incredibly important. You know, I think the social aspect, as much as the exploration, is equally as important.
Yeah, and even for yourself, just to be with the other parents as well, and not just be kind of stuck in the house, bouncing off the walls, kind of waiting for the day to end, essentially. So it's good to get out and having that way where you know that you don't have to be as super vigilant, because you know you're in a secure place that you kind of know the ins and outs of it. You can start to relax a bit more, as opposed to if you were to go to like just a standard soft play with lots of other kids there, you wouldn't be able to relax.
No.
Or I know I wouldn't anyway.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to bear with all the stares, which comes neurotypical plays. But that is where it is okay to have the have exclusive hires as well. The other one that I want, creativators as well, they do sessions on Saturday. It's a couple of hours, but it is mainly for ASN kids, pretty much for ASN kids, and it is 2 hours, so
Good.
it's quite nice. They do that for the summer.
Brilliant.
So
Yeah,
That's really good. I know, was it our oldest, we take him to iPlay in Clydebank. I know we've mentioned that before, but he has an annual pass in there, so for any carers that are coming with him, it's only £1 entrance for like 2 to 3 hours basically, and all the staff in there have like gotten to know our oldest, and they have him on like a wee file just to make sure anybody that comes in who isn't used to seeing how he plays, and all, whoever needs to interact with him, they can open that up and have a wee look. So it's really nice, and I think it's them kind of meeting you halfway, isn't it? Do you know, taking an interest in your child.
definitely.
It's huge. Do you know, it's like it's a massive first step. You know,
because you know as well that if anything was to happen, that they did get out your eyesight or anything, you'd kind of know that, okay, like the people that work here recognise your child, and they kind of be like, right, okay, at least they're kind of keeping an eye on him as well.
Do you know, there was a time, I remember it was just me, and I was watching my oldest, and I remember I was, I'm not gonna lie, I was really needing the toilet, and my oldest, he was up in the trampoline area, and I was so confused, and I was like, I don't really know what to do here. And a member of staff basically came over and was very much, you know, are you needing to go to the toilet? Are you needing to go outside and make a call? I can watch your oldest for you, which, you know, they didn't have to do, which was really kind of nice. And he was up on the trampoline anyway, so it wasn't really any bother, but the staff all knew him, so
that helps.
it was quite nice, and I definitely needed the toilet, so it was nice.
Yeah, no, it's good. Even if they know who it is, so you just have that thing less worried of, like, if they were to run off, someone would actually notice, like, oh, there's an issue here, like, that kid shouldn't just be left to run out the door.
Yeah. I say to everybody, anybody that looks after our oldest, I'm like, listen, if you need to rugby tackle him at the floor, you rugby tackle him at the floor.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Even the smallest bit of thing, we kind of notice that, and we see that these people are showing interest, and we are so appreciative of that. Not that we are trying to be angels or anything, but it's that level of attentiveness that we have been kind of groomed into now.
And it's that way. It's that whole way of, like, you're just, everyone's crying out for help. So whenever you get any small amount of it, you're just so appreciative to get that. I mean,
absolutely.
Obviously, I spoke about exclusive hires, which is obviously a good thing you can do yourself. But there is other charities and clubs that you can reach out to see if they've got spaces in any of their sessions. Different ones will potentially do like hires. They'll run things regularly in their own halls. You've got charity that James mentioned called Avalon that run some different sessions you can get in touch with. There's also AS Sensory Crew. You've got Autastic. You've also got Autis Fun. You've got the charity Every Kind of Mind. Another one that we use is the Saturday Cafe. And that's one that they can be signed up for from 5 years old, and they do right up until they're 18. That one is on each weekend, but they also do clubs throughout the summer as well. I think there's quite a bit of a waiting list to get into the Saturday Cafe, but it's something that you can look into. It does give you that help over the summer as well. Another one of our favourites locally for us is Super Kids, and they're absolutely amazing for us over the holidays. They do a lot of things that we can take Ashton to in his school. It just means that for example, I think it's the first 2 weeks of the holidays, Ashton's able to go there. We can take him. It's not one that we can just drop him and leave him, but it just means that he can go into the school. There'll be lots of things for him to play with. We can meet other parents, and it's massively beneficial. So yeah, that's one of our favourites. But definitely the other ones I've mentioned there, I definitely recommend looking them up and get involved. Again, they're groups that you'll meet lots of other parents and people that are on the same journey as you. So yeah, definitely
also if there's any groups, if you're listening, that you go to that we haven't mentioned, please do fire them across to us. Advertising new places only is going to help other people. So yeah.
And the other thing is always go first in, because most of the times these are places which will run based on limited numbers because of how the care needs are. So go in first so that you get your places. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Apart from that, I think when it comes to your summer, I know you were going to touch on this. I think going around, each other and talking about what we actually have planned for the summer thus far would be good.
Let me start off on that. So far, Nathan at least, we have not got any confirmed dates from the council, though we got a letter saying that we will get some dates for at least 3 or something like that, but we have not got any dates, given that it is just 1 week away from the holidays starting. So we have planned it in such a way that Nathan's mom would take him to India for like 3 to 4 weeks per se. So, and the rest of the time that they are back, I'll need to take some weeks off. So that's why I'm saying we need to literally split our holidays and use up all our planned leave. That is where it lies.
Yeah, quite happy to go through ours. Obviously, I mentioned before that we've had to take unpaid leave, so Cheryl's had to take a couple of weeks off over the summer to look after Ashton, and throughout that point there's quite a few sessions on with Super Kids that she'll take Ashton to. We've signed up again for the exclusive hires and Pop In and Play and Bouncy Bees, and also Life's Little Rainbows, along with some other parents to keep busy through that time. We've got, as I say, a couple of days support service for Ashton that we can drop him off at the school, and there's a service that runs there. We've also got a couple of days booked in with Ashton's PAs, so we've got 2 over the summer that are helping us out, who are both absolutely amazing with Ashton, and he's delighted when he sees them. And then towards the end of the summer I've got some time off as well, before we go on holiday for the last 10 days before Ashton goes to school.
That sounds cool. So for us, we're obviously going on that caravan break, and it's out in kind of Ayrshire. So right next to where we're staying, there's it's called the Heads of Ayr, and that's kind of like a kind of fun area. They have like some sensory equipment and stuff like that. So for our oldest, that's really like opportune. We can go and do that. In the actual holiday resort itself, there's a sensory room, which is always good. There's like a kind of climbing area, a kind of soft play trampoline kind of spot, which is good. That keeps him busy. And then for when we get back, our kind of local go-tos are, iPlay, Monty's Farm. There's a plethora of parks around where we stay, that aren't too bad, but we'll kind of play it by ear depending on what we can do. There's also kind of Braehead area, so Gravity, I know they have started doing ASN sessions as well. My oldest, he absolutely loves Gravity. So we've got almost like a database worth of different places to go to. There's also a local park we have down, if you're in Dumbarton. It's the name escapes me, but it's like an exclusive. You can phone up and book it in, and it's completely free for a few hours. It's quite a small wee park, but the concept itself is really cool. Like,
You can book the park?
yeah, you can book the park.
Nice.
I'm trying to remember
Never
the name
heard
off
of
of the
it.
top of my head. Again, I'm going to need to mention it in a future episode.
Sure.
It's lost. It's gone from me. But you know, my oldest, he does enjoy it, but he can get quite bored after about 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's gauging whether he's going to be entertained for that length of time or not.
Mhm.
So apart from that, we'll be on the lookout for ASN sessions.
Yeah.
We might try some exclusive hires.
Yeah, I'd recommend it. In other places we've not really mentioned, there's also the Yard in Glasgow that you can book into, which is completely ASN specific, but again, you need to be there as well. So again, fully gated, plenty of things for the kids to do. There's also what I'd recommend as well is with all these things, it's a kind of strength in numbers. If there's a soft play that your child likes, get in contact with them and ask them if they're going to do ASN sessions over the summer. The more people that message, the better. One of our favourite ones, I reached out to the other day, Sporty Kids, and they've said they're going to be doing them over the summer as well. So yeah, I would definitely recommend just getting in contact with these places, because with everything, it's not usually clearly signposted. You need to actually hunt through a lot of information to find what is available for ASN children.
Yeah. One other thing that I wanted to mention was the Allenda Leisure Centre and a couple of more leisure centres in East Dumbartonshire. They are doing free court booking. So you can book a court this runs only during the summer. You can book the court by calling them a day before, like a pickleball or a badminton or a tennis court, exclusively for you. So you can just have it for an hour and it's free.
Oh, brilliant.
That's really cool.
So this is something that the council is doing. So
There
something
we
the
go.
council is
We'll
doing.
take that.
Yeah.
Good. So that can help the dads maybe get in shape a bit
No,
better.
it's more for the
chasing.
kids. It's more for the kids.
To be
it's
fair, do you know, I think I look at the summer, and I think for us the key is being prepared. Being prepared as much as we can. What we like to do is have the kids' bags organised and kept by the door. Just even if we don't have like a big plan that day, having it ready to go is key. I think preparing as much as you can. We always a tip I would say is keeping a spare pack of nappies if your child is toilet training. Keeping a spare pack of nappies in the back of the car is
Just in case.
incredibly useful.
And
Saved
a pair
us
of trousers as well.
Yes, multiple clothes. Like we pack. Honestly, it's I've seen military operations with smaller bags than what we pack, and it's nappies, wipes, nappy bags, alternative clothing, food. Yes, massive. We normally buy those kind of bottles of flavoured water.
Yeah.
We buy some of them. It'll be clothes that fits all natures, like all of the weather that we can encounter. As you know, it can be all 4 seasons in one day.
Yeah.
And sunscreen as well.
Oh, sunscreen, massive. That's going to be a big one over the summer.
Yep.
So yeah, and I think that's off the top of my head. I know, like medication, all of these types of things. It's better to be as prepared as you can be.
Yeah, and I think that's the main message with this episode, that you can only prepare so much, because you can be so prepared for every single day, but things happen, life happens, and things can go up in the air. But for me, the biggest tip is just know what is available to you, book in where you can, but also just keep in touch with your community of other ASN parents, help each other, learn each other, and hopefully everyone can get to the end of the summer holidays in one piece, and then get them back to school. And then you almost feel like you need another 8 weeks to yourself to get over it.
Yeah, you sit there and go, well, they just had their summer holidays. Where's mine? What happened?
Definitely.
There you go.
I think if you're an ASN parent over the summer and you're struggling for ideas, or maybe struggling, just in general, please do reach out.
Or if you have ideas as well.
Yes,
please do
absolutely.
reach out
Yes,
to us.
I'm focusing on too much on I'm a negative Nancy today, but you know, I think it's really important, especially over the summer, and I think, you know, having your children at home is very important to focus on, you know, your health as much as your children's.
Yeah, you need to take, and that's one thing I probably didn't mention, that planning all these things, but also try planning some time for yourself where possible, whether you've got any sort of childcare, PA, any sort of respite, or whether it's a case of your partner just gives you a bit of time. You need to make sure that you switch off yourself to be able to get through the summer. So definitely make sure look after your child, but look after yourself and each other as well. I think it's been a good chat this week. We can tell we're all really looking forward to the summer. I think we can call it there.
Yeah,
It's been great to chat, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. If you want to get involved or get in touch with us, you can find us on Facebook or Instagram under ASN Dad Chat.